socialist dictator Nicolas Maduro, he stole the previous election. He locked up and he tortured anyone trying to unseat him. According to the Venezuelan constitution, it is 35-year-old Juan Guaido that is now the leader of that country. He was the leader of the country's Congress, and he is now the rightful president. But socialist dictator Maduro is still there clinging to power with the help of the Russians and the Cubans and the Iranians, the Chinese, you name it. All the people, by the way, that we don't get along with. You know, yet you have hundreds of thousands of people in Venezuela that are taken to the streets demanding he leave office immediately. So how does this play out? Well, National Security Advisor John Bolton telling me exclusively that Nicolas Maduro, despite reports, has actually lost the support of much of his military. Watch.
Maduro can't count on them to follow his orders. So there are extensive discussions going on by members of the National Assembly with the military. This is still very much in play, and it's one reason why today here in Washington we've been looking at ways to disconnect Maduro from the financial resources he needs to pay the military and otherwise keep himself in power.
So what will it take for Venezuela's illegitimate dictator to actually step down? Well, we are asking one of the country's most prestigious and internationally celebrated anti-Maduro leaders, a statesman who's been forced into exile, a man who actually had the position that Guaido now has before becoming president, Mr. Julio Borges. It's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for being back on the program. Let me ask, because you were there in 2002 when Chavez was unseated for a couple of days and then wound up back in power. What needs to happen so that you don't have a repeat of 2002, Mr. Borges? And how do you get the military on the side of Juan Guaido?
Well, that's a very clever question, Tricia. Thank you. Listen, there is a different world from 2002 to 2019. First of all, the main support for Chavez and Maduro was the oil revenue that now has dropped and the industry has been destroyed. The second one has been the army force. Currently, the support of the army force is so small. Maduro only depends on 8 generals. I can give you the names of those generals, and the rest of the army force is completely against Maduro. In the last year has been 6 different coups d'etat against Maduro. So the presence of the Cuban government behind Maduro is the main reason why Maduro is in power. So the support that Chavez has, oil, army force, and Cuba, Maduro only have Cuba and a small piece of the army force behind him.
So how do you see this playing out? You say most of the military, it sounds like you're very much in agreement with John Bolton on this. Actually, the rank and file support some change. As we just heard from General Tata, it is really up to the military at this point because they are going to be the ones to enforce whoever is going to Miraflores Palace. How do you convince those 8 people that are so close still to Nicolas Maduro to switch sides?
Yeah, I would like to be very clear, Tricia. This is a key issue, what you mentioned. 99% of the army force is against Maduro. You can be sure about this statement. It's only a very small group, as any dictatorship in the world. So I think we are in a very important time in which we have to make very clear to this small group of military that they want to be part of the solution or they want to be still part of the problem. And this is something that we are building in Venezuela.
So does this mean amnesty for them? An amnesty for Nicolas Maduro? I mean, I imagine it's hard because you yourself, sir, were forced into exile because you dared to speak up, and anybody that dares to speak up goes to prison or is left trying to escape that country. We're going to be talking to someone who became a political prisoner of Maduro's a little bit later in the program tonight. But, you know, what happens to him in all this? Where does Nicolas Maduro wind up when it's all said and done?
Well, the issue is that we have this combination, this diabolic combination that we have to break in the next days, and I'm sure that we're gonna break in an irreversible way. Is the combination of Cuba kidnapping the army force, making violence and repression against the army force, a very small but very corrupt head of the army force, and we need more and stronger pressure on this small core group. And I think that President Trump is very clear on this. John Bolton is very clear. Secretary Pompeo, Mauricio Claver, all the team, Kimberly, all the people that is devoted to Venezuela, they are very clear that there is only one path. A lot of pressure and probably two outcomes.
Part of that pressure.
Sorry?
Forgive me. Part of that pressure is going to come in the form of more protests. We're learning that Juan Guaido, President Guaido, is calling for more protests in the streets of Venezuela. At some point, is there a tipping point when Nicolas Maduro says, okay, you know, they don't want me here. They really don't. And I take the hint. And he goes and lives happily ever after, shall we say, as John Bolton suggested, in a nice villa somewhere on a beach, never to be heard from again, at least in Venezuela.
Yeah. Well, but what we are building now to produce this happy end story is that for the first time, we have the union and the connection from the international pressure, Lima Group and the United States, and the internal pressure. And the union, the connection of both kind of pressure, it will produce sooner or later, but very soon, a democratic outcome in Venezuela. It could be by the good way or by violence, but I would like to be very clear. The one who chose violence has been Nicolas Maduro, because what we want is election, freedom, democracy. The one who has closed every door for democracy has been Maduro. But pressure, international and internally, will produce a democratic outcome very soon in Venezuela.
I think a lot of people would like to see that. Certainly the United States of America, the people deserve it. Thank you so much, Julio Borges. Gracias.